Hey guys, it's Brodan here, bringing you a video about Hurtworld V2. So Hurtworld was a game that sprung up in 2015, around the time when survival games were a big hit in the community, along with other things like Rust and DayZ. They were becoming very popular at the time. Now Hurtworld is shown through because of its unique graphic design, choosing a cartoony aesthetic rather than a realistic environment, and a lot of people were enjoying it, and it showed a lot of promise. But as the game progressed, there wasn't as much content being put out. The developers kind of were having trouble keeping the community satisfied, and the game kind of died down over the course of the year. And since then, it's been pretty dead. About a few hundred players, maybe at peak times, but nothing was populated. The developers were still working on the game, but there just doesn't seem to be much interest in the community. But since then, and as of a few days ago, the developers have released Hurtworld V2, which is a huge update that encompasses a lot of the work that the developers have done in the last 2 years, and it's bringing some life back into a game. And it went from having hundreds of players on to now we're in several thousands, and hopefully the game keeps growing because I really enjoyed it back in the day. I've even enjoyed it when I was playing the Item V2 experimental build that they had been working on that I'd played this past summer, and now that the full V2 version is out, I'm really having fun and getting together with some buddies and playing this game. So today, just showing you a quick tutorial on how to get started and some of the mechanics and the aspects of the game that you're going to need to learn and figure out in order to be successful. Alright, so here you see me loading in to one of the official servers. So these are probably going to be the most populated servers that you can find. So you have the choice between official and community servers, which community servers have more mods and stuff, but official is just vanilla gameplay, and I would recommend that to start. They are going to be heavily populated servers, but that's part of the experience, getting into PvP and stuff like that. So you can see me briefly showing the map, and that's going to be a big part of exploring in the game, interacting with, this is a sleeping player, so they just show up as a box. So in order to start off, what you're going to need to do is pick up these logs and the rocks that you're going to find around the world. So here's me picking up some stones and some logs, and this is how you're going to get started. Because you're going to need these materials in order to build the tools that you're going to need in order to start collecting the nodes that you'll find around the map. So here again, I'm just collecting a few. I think I have enough at this point to make a flint hatchet, so I think I go ahead and make that. And so this is going to be used for collecting the wood nodes, which I'm approaching one right here. So you're just going to start swinging at it, and you'll get definitely a lot more wood than you would normally if you were just picking them up off the ground. So again, just keep going along the starting area, getting nodes if you can, if you have your hatchet ready. If not, just pick up the twigs and the stones. And now you'll notice I'm starting to get cold at this point because it is turning nighttime, and that's one of the main mechanics in the game is the temperature. And one way to keep track of that is in the top right corner of the screen, you'll see a thermometer. And at the top, you'll notice one temperature. At the bottom, there's another. And then there's one in the middle, which kind of has the arrow that's on the left side of it. And so that indicates the range of temperature that which your character can survive in. And so when it comes nighttime, the temperature drops below what your character can survive in, especially with no gear on. So what's going to come next is going to be making a fire. And you're going to need 20 logs and 5 flint for that. So you're going to want to run around and just get that. And here I show you guys quickly that you can change it to third person using F2, which I find is a useful mechanic because it shows you a wider field of view. It's helpful for combat and just overall scouting. Now it may be cheap, but I feel like it's effective and it wouldn't be there if you couldn't use it as a tool. But you guys do what you prefer. I just prefer to use third person. Alright, so here I have enough for a campfire, so I go ahead and craft that. I think I also have enough for a stone pick, so I think I make that in a few seconds here. And the pick and the hatchet are going to be the main tools that you're going to use throughout most of the game. Alright, so here I find a spot to set down my campfire. You just got to scroll over it, place it down using left click, and then you can interact and light it. And so this will provide heat for you during the nighttime so you don't freeze to death. And now in front of me is an iron node. So what you're going to want to do here is just break this down. You'll get iron ore and stone, and sometimes you'll get amber. And amber will drop from any node, sometimes from killing animals as well. And amber is a very important resource that is very versatile in the game. So I run over here and I grab this flint node, and then I realize here that I'm in the red desert, so I actually start getting heat stroke because it's too hot over there, even in the nighttime. So we need the proper gear to go into that kind of territory. So here I show off a mechanic in the game. You'll notice that your tools will have a red exclamation point in the bottom left corner of the icon. And if you right click on them, you'll see a few options to drop to send to chat. But we're interested here is the protecting. So you can use Amber, and for the beginning tools, it's only about one, but it'll protect your items if you were to die. So instead of dropping on death, what they'll do is they'll stay in your inventory and they'll lose their protection. So it's only good for one death, but you can just re-protect them. And instead of dropping your tools, you will drop the Amber. Alright, so once it's daytime, I'm on the move again. And one quick thing to say about the campfire is that once it's out of fuel, it will die out, so you can't take it with you. So one thing to do is if it turns daytime is to just pick up the extra logs in there and then head out. So here I'm just looking for more nodes. I come across a log here. And the thing with nodes is that they will always spawn around the same area. So that one log node will always be around that area where I just got it every time it respawns. And that goes to say with every other node here. And so across the road here, I find a few things on the ground. So we got a fire pit, a crafting bench, and a chest. And that was most likely where a shack was. And a shack is something you can craft as a temporary home if you don't have the materials to build a base. And you see one in front of me. And then there's also a rabbit in front of me. It has a different name in game, but that's one of the animals you can find. They're the only passive mob where they will not attack you if you approach. Instead, they will run. And now another thing going on here is an airdrop is now landing somewhere in front of us. And an airdrop will have pretty high-end loot in it, such as rifles and ammunition and maybe vehicle parts. I mean, the list is really large of the things that can spawn in there, but it's random. However, these areas are probably highly contested, and a lot of players will want to be over there, and they will have most likely have weapons and stuff. So I recommend just staying away from that if you can help it. So that's really the stuff you're going to want to look for. And now here I craft a spear. It's one of the other weapon types you can use, and you can use it as a melee weapon and also prop it above your head and throw it. And you can go over and just pick it back up. So at this point, I find a coal node, which is indicated by the red rock with some black spots in it, and coal is used in your fire pit or your furnace, and it's going to be the fuel you're going to need to smelt iron when you get to it eventually. And now at this point, I'm just getting a few things, and I see the shigi, which is the deer-like animal that will attack you. So I try to use the spear here to get it, and it looks like it connects, but I also still have the spear in my hand, so I think a bit of lag. So the technique here is just going to be waiting for the animal to try to attack, and then when it goes still, you can hit it in the head. It's going to be kind of a weird time to buffer it, but if you can get it down pretty quickly, you can be able to kill the animal in a few hits. And you're also going to want to try to aim for the head because that'll deal the most damage, and that will be indicated by red crosshairs when you hit the target. So what I'm looking for here is a bone or an animal tendon, which most animals will drop these, so I find one there, and this is going to be used to craft a bow. And while I'm at it, animals also will drop raw meat and leather, which are both also very important tools. Leather used for making a lot of the clothes in the game, and the meat obviously used for food to satiate your hunger. As you can see, my hunger meter is kind of building up, and it's going to be a matter of time before I'm going to need some food. So here I find a stray crafting bench, and I decide to use it to craft my bow. And it also has a bunch of stuff on it that another player must have left behind. So I go ahead and snag all that. The crafting table can hold of 16 items, and you are going to need to put your items on there or your materials in order to craft the items you want. So here I craft a bow, which is going to take 1 animal tendon and 50 wood. So then I just slowly organize my inventory and I craft some arrows, which are made of 5 wood and 3 flint, or 5 wood and 1 iron, and that will give you 5 arrows per craft. So in order to use the bow, you right click to aim up and then left click to start drawing back, and once you release left click, you will shoot the arrow. You can also hotkey to something else to stop the bow draw. So here I try to aim for the head of the deer and I kind of miss. At this point with this bow, it's going to take 2 headshots to get the deer. At this point in the video, I'm going to make a backpack which takes 20 leather and 2 bones, if I remember correctly. And the backpack is going to be very important to hold all the materials you'll be gathering as you're still trying to wander around and find a suitable place for your home. And then while I'm gathering some notes here, I stumble upon a clan territory, which is part of the new V2 update. So what you can do is make a clan creation emblem or something along those lines. I don't remember the exact name. But then you can create your own clan. You can give it a name, give it a color for your emblem, and then also give it a clan message, I believe. And as the admin, if you create the clan, you'll be able to accept invitations, and people will be able to apply by hitting tab and finding the two crossbones that indicate the clan part of your main menu. So here I access the totem, and it's claimed by a clan, and you can see there. So I'm not 100% sure exactly how it works, but the gist of it is you're supposed to claim it and build a little fortress around it to protect it, and other clans are supposed to fight and try to gain that territory. So you might have also noticed it was raining at one point, or there it is going to rain rather, as on the mini map there's a slight gray circle which kind of indicates that the rain is coming. So I take a quick view at the map in a little bit, and the rain, all it really does is give you the wet status effect, which will make you colder if it's turning nighttime, if it's already cold. And then there are a few other types of weather, which are the blizzard and the sandstorm, which are inherent to the regions at either end of the map. So the tundra will have the blizzard, and then the desert areas will have the sandstorm, which I'm not exactly sure what it does because I haven't experienced it, but I can only imagine it will be very cold or very hot and probably reduced visibility in those areas. So here I stumble across an offline player and I decide to beat him up, take his stuff, and then I access his crafting table and he has a bunch of stuff on here, and then I decide to make a construction hammer because I'm going to start base building soon. So it's going to take iron, amber, and wood, and you can make one of those. And that'll give you access to the construction menu. And then here I make concrete, which is going to be limestone and stone. And you're only going to need 40 for each foundation you lay down. And I also decide to make a shirt here so it prevents me from getting cold at night. And a shirt is really all you need to stop from getting cold at night if you're in the middle area. And so then I decide to move out and try to find a suitable spot to base. So after a little bit of exploring, I find a spot on top of a hill. It looks pretty flat to start building. So you notice once you bust out the construction ham, you'll see a little grid layout by like these bluish purple lines. And so this indicates an entire area where you can pop down a ownership stake and you will own that entire area. So enemies will not be able to use your doors to break anything, whatnot. So I briefly go over some of the stuff in the construction menu. From left to right, you have the foundations, your walls, your support structures, your roofs, your ceilings, the doors, stairs and ramps, ladders, and then certain poles and like beam structures, which I haven't really used much of, but they're there. So there's also different variations of the walls here with windows or doorways, and for the most part, each different type of material or structure will have a size to it and then also a material. So here I place down one foundation, set out my crafting bench, and you need to convert wood to planks in order to build up the walls here. So you notice these little green squares, which are what you're going to want to aim your crosshair in order to put them down. So we're going to make these the largest walls we can, get them all around. And you notice we can put some in the corners to have like an angle to it. And now what we're going to need to do is get out the door variant, and we're going to want to make a medium door because the big door is a garage. So put that down, switch to the door, pop that down, and then here we need to make the ceiling. So I put that down, and just show you that you can move it slightly off put, but you're going to want it right in the center to cover it. So here I make the ownership stake, but then I realize I need some wood, so I got to go do that real quick. So I return back to our little base, and we have enough wood to make the ownership stake, which takes some amber, some clay, and wood. And now you're just going to want to place that down. And once you access it or interact with it, you'll notice you're automatically authorized. And so if you have any friends with you, you'll just need to let them in and they can authorize themselves. So you notice there's amber in it, and amber will prevent it from despawning. And if it runs out of amber, your base will no longer be protected. So you just got to put some amber in it, and you can put a max of up to 20, which will protect it for 5 days. Then here I kind of goof up. I attempt to place my bed, but I don't really have enough room. And I go to remove the crafting table, and I accidentally remove the foundation. So I couldn't really find a way to put it back, so I kind of just like decided this is where I leave off the video. So you can watch me kind of blunder about. But yeah, that should be enough information to get you going in your first try at Hurtworld for all the new players here. What I will say is this game is a lot of fun. You can play it solo, but I definitely recommend it with some friends. It will make your experience a lot more enjoyable. But at this point in the game, you're just going to want to continue on as collecting nodes, hunting animals, navigating the craft menu, and figuring out what kind of stuff you need to survive. You're going to need clothes, you're going to need food, you can expand your base, go exploring. So there's a lot to do in this game, and I hope you guys will enjoy, and thanks for watching.